Hello everyone, welcome to Dawn of the New Earth. Today's a very important video because we are talking about how to manifest your reality. Now, I'm going to be actually teaching you an extremely powerful ritual that will allow you to manifest anything within reason, of course. It has to be something that is actually obtainable or something that can actually occur. You know, if you just be like, oh, I want to manifest $1 billion next week, of course, you're not going to be able to do that. But for anything that is realistic, this is going to teach you how to be able to manifest that. This is a very powerful ritual, and it's one that I use all the time. Very effective, highly effective, okay? So we're going to get started right away, but before we do, as always, make sure that you hit like and subscribe. And if you haven't become a member yet, what the hell? Become a member. It helps out a lot, and you get access to a lot of great stuff. All of my downloadable notes on inner transformation, including a ton of them on alchemy, and I'm going to be making one for this video that you'll be able to download that'll have step-by-step instructions that you can refer to be able to perform this ritual whenever you want. You can also get access to our members-only videos, our Discord server, a lot more. Check out the members link. You can become a member on Patreon or here on YouTube to see what you can get access to. Let's see. I also want to remind you that my books are out. If you enjoy what we talk about here, check out my book, Psychogenesis. Now, this book is all about how to reach higher levels of consciousness, connect to your higher self, and manifest your will into reality. Now, just, fair warning, it's not in terms of alchemy or symbolism, but in terms of powerful psychology, in terms of reason, and even how to understand what free will is. If we're going to be working with the will, you want to know what even free will is at all, and what we are, what existence is. So I highly recommend checking out this book, Psychogenesis, Self and Universal Transformation, and that is in the description of this video. You'll find a bunch of stuff in the description of this video, including where you can download those notes I was talking about, and you can follow me on Spotify as well. Okay, so enough of that. Let's talk about this. So we've been talking a lot about alchemy, and alchemy is about how to transform yourself. Now, the last step in the 7 steps of inner alchemy is about manifesting your will into reality. You've connected to your higher self, and then it's about manifesting your will into, actually making it real, coagulation, making it concrete. So now we're going to talk about how to do that, and we're going to introduce a ritual to aid in this. We talked about will forming last week, and this is going to be a will forming ritual. What is will forming? It's giving form to what you will, okay? And that's what we're going to learn how to do right now. So real quick, before we do, I want to answer the question, what the hell is a ritual and why are we doing it? And isn't that just a bunch of mystical garbage woo-woo bullshit? No, it's not. It can be if you don't know what you're doing. But ultimately what this is, and I've said it before, but I'll say it again, it's communicating with your unconscious mind. Your unconscious communicates in symbolism, metaphors, allegories. It doesn't communicate in language as we understand it through our left brain hemispheric functions. It is an archetypal system. It's like when you go to sleep and dream. Your dreams are filled with symbolic imagery, and that's a communication from your unconscious mind to your conscious mind. Now, we're kind of doing the reverse here. We're using our conscious mind to communicate with our unconscious mind. So it's a bit like dreaming in reverse. So what I mean by that is, and this is important, because when we talk about alchemy, we've been talking about, this applies to alchemy, applies to any kind of magic, any kind of ritual. It's so important to actually physically engage with this. So alchemy is about transforming the inner mind, the inner self. It's in a very advanced form of psychology. But you should also work with physical items. And that's one reason I told you guys, oh, you guys should make cards and draw the alchemical symbols and do this and that. And a lot of people are going to ignore that, and they're just going to focus on like, oh, I just want to analytically understand it. And that's fine, but you're going to be missing half of what's going on here. Because the reason why that you need to actually physically work with these things is because what you're doing is you're communicating with your unconscious mind. When you are putting items, when you have items out and you are manipulating those items in physical space, your unconscious is going to recognize that, and that's going to be reflected in a structuring in your inner space. If this sounds a little confusing, don't worry. It's pretty simple, and it'll make sense as we go along. But it's essentially like this. If you are if you have objects and are manipulating objects in a certain sequence in physical reality, and those things that you're manipulating resonate with your unconscious as a certain kind of symbolism, your unconscious is going to begin to get the message to structure itself accordingly. Then you're going to have your unconscious working with consciousness. And that is key. That's key to understand. And most people don't get this. So if you're able to, that's awesome. Great job. If it takes a little while for it to click, don't worry. This is some very advanced stuff. So what I think I'll do is kind of describe the ritual for you guys. And then after describing the ritual, I'll go into a little more of a breakdown of why this actually works, why it's extremely helpful for manifesting your will and giving form to what you will. Okay. So we are going to be doing this will forming ritual. And this will forming ritual is based on the pentagram. So why is it based on the pentagram? Well, I'll show you why. So let me bring this camera up here. So here is a pentagram. And the pentagram essentially allows us to organize the four elements. In alchemy, we have been working with the four elements. And so the pentagram is a way to arrange and organize those symbolic structures. And the fifth element is, of course, spirit. So we have air, water, fire, and earth. And as we recall, air is intellect, water is emotions and intuition, fire is willpower, and earth is groundedness and action and manifestation. And spirit is what you truly are, you as your true self. And the reason why spirit is at top is because when you master the elements, when you become a master of the elements, all of the elements should be working towards your true goal, your true will. So this is why we can use a pentagram. Pentagrams are often, you're going to see pentagrams associated all the time with the four elements. There's 5 points, but it's associated with the four elements because one of the points represents the fifth element of spirit. Okay, so what does this have to do with the ritual that we're going to be discussing today? Well, the ritual we're going to be discussing today is organized according to the elements, according to this pentagram. And I'll show you how. So we can understand it like this. Spirit is the goal. This is going to represent what it is ultimately that you want to achieve. Air is going to be the plan to achieve it. Water is your intention to achieve it, embedding it in your unconscious mind so it can be working in the background. Fire is your will to achieve it, prioritizing it as that which is most important. And then earth is action, which is all about actually doing it, actually manifesting it, actually having it come to pass. You'll notice for those who watched the last video on will forming that this has all the elements of will forming. It has your goal, your intention, your plan, your will, and your action. It's just now organized according to the elements and according to these symbols. Now, let me point something out here for those who have been following this series. Do you see how we could explain this without using the elements at all, or without using a pentagram, or without using these symbols? We could just purely talk about it in terms of, finding a goal, planning, intention, willpower, action. We could talk about it all without using symbols at all. And if we were to do that, it would still work, but you're only going to be using your conscious mind is really going to be involved. Do you see how what we're doing is we're transforming what it is that we want to occur and work with into a symbolic set that our unconscious mind will resonate with. Does that make sense? So instead of just talking about the goal, we talk about spirit and associate a certain symbol. Instead of just talking about a plan, we talk about air and a certain symbol. And this, instead of intention, you can almost think of this as like translating, like, see, goal, that's what your consciousness understands. But spirit, and the symbol associated with it, that's going to resonate with your unconscious. Planning and intention, sure, that resonates with your consciousness, but air and water, that's going to resonate with your unconscious. And the pentagram is what organizes all these things together. Okay. So this is not about like magically casting a spell and changing reality in some woo-woo mystical sort of way. It's about learning how to create a set of symbolism to communicate with your unconscious mind. And by the way, this is the stuff that really works. Okay. This, you know, I'm sure you could Google some bullshit like, oh, how to manifest in 30 seconds or something. And it's not going to work very well. This is understanding what this is and how to do it is really important, because you're making this connection with consciousness and your unconscious working together. Okay. So hopefully you guys can see that. I kind of want you guys to see how there's like two parts to it and we're combining it. We have the sort of like rational analytical part. Oh, I need a goal. I need a plan. I need an intention. And then we have the symbolic spirit, air, water, fire, will, earth, organized by the pentagram. One is for unconscious, communicating with the unconscious, and one is for consciousness. Okay. Remember, it's kind of like dreaming in reverse. It's a bit like that. When we are dreaming and we do dream analysis, we wake up and we go, oh, that dream was really weird. And then we think about the different symbolism in the dreams. Oh, there was a child in my dream and a cat in my dream and a dragon in my dream. What could that possibly mean? Oh, well, maybe the child means I need to nurture my inner child more. And the cat might mean that I need to look and connect better with my intuition or whatever. So you're translating the symbolism into something that your conscious mind can understand. Here, we're doing the opposite. We are using our conscious mind to create a symbolic set that translates it into something that our unconscious will resonate with. Okay. So hopefully, again, this is stuff that, high level stuff. So good on you guys for sticking with me. So, and again, it'll make more sense. To actually, you don't have to know all this stuff to actually do it. So don't even worry if that's the case. It's just helpful if you want to really get into it. Okay. So now you know a little bit of the theory. Okay. You know a little bit of the theory. It's based on the pentagram. It's based on the will forming formula, but we're translating it in terms of alchemical symbolism organized by the pentagram. Okay. So what do you need to actually do this? How do you perform this ritual? What do you need for performing this, this ritual? Okay. So first thing you need is you need 4 items that represent the 4 elements. This can be anything that resonates with you. For those of you who made elemental cards, you can use the elemental cards that you made. Don't have to use that. It's whatever resonates with you. I'll give you some examples. And if you don't know what to use, I recommend using these. For air, you can use a pin, because remember, air represents intellect and analysis and logic and reason. For water, you can use a, here, I show you on screen. You can use a cup, and it can be filled with any liquid. I recommend wine, or if you can't drink wine because you're sober or underage, not at the drinking age, then use grape juice or any kind of red liquid. But it doesn't, you can still use water. If for whatever reason all you have access to is water, that works as well. You just need a cup with liquid. And this represents water, of course. And then we have fire, which is, of course, always when working with fire, make sure that you are safe. I have my air conditioning going right now, so this doesn't want to light, but let me see if I can't light it off screen. There we go. Hopefully it doesn't. I'm trying to see that, make sure it doesn't blow out, because my air conditioner is very high right now because it's hot in here. Here, I'll put it over here. Okay, that works. Anyway, you need fire. I don't even know if you can see if it's lit. It is. It's lit. And then you need earth. And you can use just a bowl of dirt to represent earth. Okay. So you have all these different items here. And so to perform this ritual, that's all you really need. So you need something that represents air, something that represents water, something that represents fire, and something that represents earth. Now, remember, we're manipulating these items in physical space and interacting with these items in physical space so that that will communicate with our unconscious and be reflective in an organization in our inner space. That's why we are doing this. It also allows us to focus our intention and will in an organized way. Okay, so I know I'm talking a lot, but it's really simple. You just need 4 items that each represent one of the 4 elements. What about spirit? All right, so we're going to talk about spirit. There's one other thing that you need. You need a piece of paper, and on the piece of paper, at the top of the paper, you're going to write the goal, the thing that it is that you want to achieve. So at the top of the paper, write the goal, the thing that you want to achieve. At the bottom of the paper, write the very next step that you need to do to accomplish that goal. So for example, let's say your goal is to write a book. Then the next step could be finish the first chapter or start the first chapter. Okay? So that's what you need. So in our example here, we have write a book as the goal, finish the first chapter. So this is essentially what is representative of spirit, because this is your goal, this is the plan of action, and all the elements are going to be working towards that goal. And remember, that's just like our example here, in where we want all the elements working in service to and organized to spirit. This is about becoming master of the elements. Becoming master of the elements means working with the elements so that they are organized such that they will be working towards achieving your goal, achieving your outcome, giving form to what you will. Okay? So, pretty simple. 4 items, a goal, and the first step to accomplish that goal. So what do you do? How do you actually perform this ritual once you have all the items? Okay? Well, it's very simple. We're going to go, we're going to do each of these steps in a clockwise direction. So first we're going to work with air, then we're going to work with water, then we're going to work with fire, then we're going to work with earth. And so the first step is to work with air. And so all you have to do, all you're going to want to do is hold and connect with that pen or whatever it is that you're using to represent air. And what you want to do while you're holding the pen is visualize the symbol of air. And the symbol of air is an upward, well, you know what it is. That's the symbol of air. So just hold on the pen and visualize the symbol of air. Then what are you going to do? Well, remember, air represents intellect, reason, and logic. So what you're going to do is, in your mind, logically explain to yourself why you're taking this next step. How is it going to bring you closer to your goal? How will it make your life better? Etc. And so in the example of that we're using is that if you want to finish the first chapter of your book, you could say to yourself, finishing the first chapter is what will make my book real. The hardest part of writing is starting. Once I have a full chapter, I'll have momentum. This will bring me closer to publishing and sharing my ideas with the world, and I'll feel fulfilled. In other words, you're just in your mind logically explaining to yourself why you're even doing this. And remember, this might sound kind of silly, but it's not. You're organizing all your internal faculties towards making this happen. So you're going to want to hold on to this item, visualize the symbol of air, and explain to yourself in your mind, logically, why it is that you're doing this and what kind of benefits you'll get from doing it. I'll be happier. I'll have a more fulfilling life. I'll feel accomplished. I'll be able to sell the book and make money, whatever it is. Explain it to yourself in your mind logically. Okay? So hold it, do that, and then just say out loud, cogito ergo creo, which means I create as I think. Okay? So, or I'm sorry, I think, therefore I create. Cogito ergo creo. I think, therefore I create. Then we're going to move to water. Same idea. Pick up the item, hold the item, visualize the symbol of water in your mind. And this is super easy. What you're doing here is as you hold the red liquid, all you're going to do is just feel that intention, basically like everything that you just said logically, everything that you just explained to yourself explicitly and logically. Just feel it sinking into your unconscious, becoming embedded in your unconscious. This is more of like an intuitive feeling sort of practice. You're not really thinking anything explicit. You're just feeling it sink into your unconscious. And just spend about a minute letting that desire to complete the step flow into your unconscious mind. And then what you're going to do as a symbolic act of absorbing your intention, you're going to drink the liquid. And after you're done drinking the liquid, you say, in anima insculpo. In anima insculpo, which means I engrave it in my soul. That's in anima insculpo. I engrave it in my soul. And once again, for everyone who's a member, I'm going to have all this in a very easy to read PDF with all this typed out for you guys. So now you are going to move over to fire. So what you want to do with fire, always be careful with whatever you're using fire for. You don't actually have to use fire for fire, by the way. You can use something else like a wand or like it doesn't have to be steel is forged in fire. You could use steel. It doesn't have to be fire, but it can be. And if you are, just, like touch the base of your candle, somehow connect with it. Touch the base of the candle or something. Just make sure that you're safe. All right. Especially if you're going to close your eyes and visualize whatever you're doing, just make sure you don't burn yourself, be safe, but somehow, and if you don't even want to get close to it, that's fine. You can just put your hand like kind of near it, whatever. Doesn't matter as long as you're associating with it. Okay. So we're moving over to fire. And remember, this is about will. So once again, visualize the symbol of fire. So fire is this upwards pointing triangle. And here's what you're going to do. What you need to do at this point is visualize a list in your mind. And what this list is that you're visualizing in your mind, what it's going to contain are obstacles and distractions that could get in the way of achieving the first step here, this next plan of action. So you're going to imagine a list, imagine like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 or whatever, a list of various distractions, and this one somewhere near the bottom. Now what you're going to do is mentally reorder the list. So you're going to move that list of 5 items or so. You're going to visualize this one moving above all the others and taking its place as priority, as the most important item. And so as an example, let's say that these distractions could be things like checking social media, watching TV, procrastinating, etc. Right? All these different things that get in the way. And then finishing the first chapter, you'd see it on the bottom or near the bottom. You want to visualize moving it to the top in position number 1. So again, why are we doing this? Because we need to, these are all our desires, and your will is the desire that you actually act upon. So for your action to become to reality, you have to prioritize it. If you are prioritizing or desiring more to sit on the couch and watch TV, you are not going to do anything to write that first chapter in your book. You're just going to sit there and watch TV. So this is about psychologically reordering and restructuring the mind to prioritize your next action to achieve your goal. So you do that near the fire, visualize the list, visualize the next action moving to the top of the list. And as you do so, say out loud, voluntas flamma est. That's voluntas flamma est, which means my will is a flame. Once again, I'll have this all written down for you guys. So then we'll move over to Earth. And with Earth, once again, just connect with the Earth by touching it and visualize the symbol of Earth, which is that symbol. And what you're going to do now is close your eyes and in detail, imagine yourself accomplishing this. So if we're talking about finishing the first chapter of your book, you need to, as real as possible, imagine yourself sitting at your desk and typing. See paragraphs forming on the screen. Feel the satisfaction of completing the chapter. See yourself saving the document and knowing that it's done. Visualize yourself with as much detail as you possibly can, finishing this action to achieve your goal. And do this for like a minute or however long you feel necessary. You could do it for 10 minutes if you want, however long you feel is necessary to make that visualization extremely strong. And when you feel that you've done it to a satisfactory degree, speak aloud, in mundum ad fero. That's in mundum ad fero, which means I make it real in the world. And what you need to do now is just sit in silence for about 30 seconds, breathe deeply, let all that energy just flow into you for like 30 seconds or so, and then finish the ritual by saying, mea voluntate fiat. That's mea voluntate fiat, which means by my will, it will be done. Mea voluntate fiat. By my will, it will be done. And there's a couple of, so just to go over it again really quickly here. It might sound like a lot, but it's actually very simple. You need a goal. You need the next plan of attack for accomplishing your goal. You hold the pen. You logically explain to yourself why you are even doing this. You hold the cup. You let that intention flow into your unconscious mind. You are near the fire and you visualize that plan of action becoming your will by moving to the top of the list. And then you move to Earth and visualize yourself actually going out there and doing it in as much detail as possible. Now, you want to do this a lot, by the way. This is not something that you just do one time. You should do it a lot. You could do it every day if you'd like, but you should do it as much as you feel is necessary. But like I said, doing it once isn't going to work. You have to do it multiple times. And preferably, don't have to, but preferably at night before you go to bed. Because if you do it at night before you go to bed, it will be that much more powerfully embedded in your unconscious mind. And honestly, like I know it kind of takes a long time to explain it, but doing it takes like less than 5 minutes. It's actually very simple and easy to do. And you can remember, this is all about what resonates with you. So you can make adjustments to it. So for example, what I do with the section of Earth where you close your eyes and visualize yourself accomplishing that next plan of action. I actually don't do that. What I do is I use a black mirror. A black mirror is just a piece of polished obsidian. It's just black. And I imagine myself accomplishing that in the black mirror. I project it onto the black mirror rather than just closing my eyes and imagining it, just because it requires more focus. It's more difficult to project an image onto something in front of you rather than it is to do it in your mind. So it's reinforces it even more. You have to expend more energy and more effort to do that. And so it solidifies it more for me. You don't have to do that. I'm just giving you an example. Another example is that in the fire stage, you could take that piece of paper, fold it up, and burn it as a way of releasing that energy into you. So if you do that, of course, obviously be very safe, and you probably want to use a smaller piece of paper, make sure that you have something nearby to be safe, and just be careful. I don't do that, by the way. I don't burn the candle or the paper. I mean, sometimes I'll do sigil magic but not with this. With this, you want it to be easy because you want to do it more than once. You don't want something that's so complicated that you're like, oh my God, I have to, burn this thing. Then I'm going to have to clean up afterwards. And it's a messy thing and it's a pain in the butt. Now there's smoke smell everywhere. And then so you end up not doing it. You want to make sure that it's easy and simple to do so that you actually do it and follow through with it multiple times. Because like I said, again, you need to do this multiple times for it to be effective. So like I said, if you actually do this, it will work, but you have to do it right. And so why does this even work? Look, this is not, magical spells as they explain it in Harry Potter. This is real magic. This is real manifestation. This is real will forming. What you are doing is by manipulating all these objects is fortifying your will in your unconscious mind. And think about it as well. What this does is if you do this ritual, it forces you to select a goal. It forces you to select a plan of action. And it takes you through all the steps of implanting that in your mind and fortifying it with strong intention so that you're more likely to actually do it. Because guess what? Most people are lazy and they're not even really thinking of a goal, let alone a plan of how to actually do it. So it's making you actually get a goal, actually select that thing that you need to do next, breaking it up into chunks. And then you're organizing all your faculties, all the elements, so that they're all working to achieve your goal. Your air and your intellect, your water, emotions and intuition, your fiery will, and the level of earth, reality, physical reality, manifestation. This is all about birthing a new reality. And you can even think of it in terms of like a birth. Air, the intellect, is like the seed. The water, emotions and intuition, is like the womb. The fire is like the gestation. And then the earth is like the actual physical birth. So you are taking something abstract that exists in the realm of ideas into various levels until it actually manifests in reality. So this particular ritual, this will forming rituals based around the pentagram, mastering the 4 elements, using those items in such a way that it's like dreaming in reverse. You are using symbols. You are taking conscious content, translating it into symbolism, and then communicating it to your unconscious, which is the reverse of dreaming, where unconscious gives you symbols and you translate the symbols into something your unconscious can understand. With this, you are translating ideas into something that your unconscious can understand. Your consciousness understands goal, planning, intention, will, and action. Your unconscious is going to understand spirit, air, water, fire, and earth as you manipulate these items. As long as you've actually, done the work in alchemy and made the connections with all of these things. Okay, so and I know I've said it a lot, but I just want to reiterate again as to what this even is or why we're doing it, is because, and why it's important, because you usually have two types of people. You have people who are just about like, oh, I just want to know the intellectual analytical aspect of it, and then they don't do the ritual. And then you have other people who are all about the rituals, but they don't really know what they're doing, and they just think stuff is just magically going to happen. This, you have to understand both. You have to understand analytically like what it is that you're doing, but working with the physical items is important for getting your unconscious mind to align with your conscious mind. And again, all that this is doing is organizing your unconscious so that you are more apt to take action to finish that first chapter of your book or whatever it is. Because at the end of the day, this is not like some law of attraction bullshit where it's just like, oh, put a picture of a book on your wall and like attracts like, it'll just start happening. No, you have to conform reality according to your will. You have to do that through action. But action for something to become your will, because remember, your will is a desire that becomes manifest. You have to have all these aspects of your unconscious working with you. You have to make sure that you have first of all, consciously, you need a goal and a plan, but then you need to embed that goal and plan in your unconscious mind. Make sure that your will, that you have prioritized that desire to place number one so it becomes your will, and then the visualization of actually doing it will be greater impetus for you to actually get it done. So hopefully that makes sense. And like I said, I talked a lot about this, but it's a very quick, very simple, very easy ritual that you can do in less than 5 minutes, if even that. And if you do it correctly, this is going to be incredibly powerful for you to actually manifest your will into reality. And this is the real deal, by the way. This is how you do it. You know, like I said, you could watch some YouTube video on the law of attraction that just says, oh, put a picture of money on your wall and you're going to get money. It's not going to work. It's not how it works. But guess what? A ton of people are going to watch it. A ton of people are going to do it. A ton of people are going to get all excited about it, but it's not going to do shit. This is a little more work. It's not just printing out a picture of money and sticking it to your wall. It's a little more work. It's a little more effort, but it's going to work if you actually do it because it has a logical basis behind it. You're manipulating your mind. You're manipulating your psyche so that you are primed to be more apt to accomplish goals, accomplish parts of your plan to achieve your goal. Remember, I think it was Lon Milo Duquette who said this. So I don't remember exactly. I think it was him. Magic isn't about getting what you want. Magic is about becoming the person who gets what they want. So like if you want to get a raise at work, magic isn't going to magically get you that raise at work. Magic is going to transform you into a person who gets a raise at work. Does that make sense? And that's how this ritual works. If you want to write a book, you do this ritual. You're not just going to magically have a book written tomorrow, but it's going to transform you into a person who finishes that first chapter. And then you'll move on to chapter 2 and chapter 3 and chapter 4 until you finish that book and you have given form to what you will. You have manifested it. You have created it. So, like I said, I'm going to make this PDF available for members to be able to have a real quick and easy way to understand how to do this, laid out very concisely. And also, by the way, tell me in the comments if you're interested in learning more rituals. There are much simpler rituals. There are much more advanced rituals. And there are rituals for varying degrees. There are rituals for connecting to your higher self. There are rituals for more practical things like getting a book written, etc. So if you want more videos on rituals, let me know in the comments. I always read your comments and take that into account. Like I said, become a member to get access to the PDFs. Check out my book, Psychogenesis. Psychogenesis has a whole chapter on will forming, inner star actualization, hyper awareness. But this is the analytical aspect, right? It's not in terms of the symbolism, but in terms of the analytical aspect, how it all actually works. So check that out. Follow me on Spotify, all that stuff. And like I said, if you don't want to become a member, you can just purchase the PDFs outright, but it's better to become a member. Look in the description of this video for all that stuff. Anyway, I want to give a big shout out to everyone who supports. Thank you very much, especially Renaissance Fairy, Cassidy, Angela, DB, Nusalina, Dallas, Sacred Moth, LaDonna, Mario, and everyone else. Thank you very much.